So, I think if you were to ask what the most disliked element of the newer zombies is, most players would say the point system. And I don't think any other issue even comes close, because zombies at its core is all about building up points to spend on perks, weapons, and pack. It's about that progression, but the newer games have strayed so far away from the progression of the older games that it's baffling why they don't just go back to the older point system. But there's a big reason for that, and even more so, the point system in BO6 is even worse than you realize. There's a reason why the older games had the players start with a low damage pistol, and it has more to do than just progression from weaker to stronger weapons. You see, with the pistol, it gives the players who are smart the opportunity to min-max the number of points they can get on very low rounds. You could just shoot a zombie with your bullets in the chest until they die, or you could shoot the legs, which does less damage but gives you more points, and then knife, which really provided more points for the player. But we'll get into that in a minute. Now, the old point system was designed in a way to encourage players to use a variety of weapons, because every individual bullet would give you a point. All shots that landed and didn't kill would give you the same amount. So what this did was make players seek out point weapons. These would normally be low damage, fast firing SMGs with a lot of ammo, typically wall buys so player could stack up points for the other things they wanted to buy. In the mid rounds, when players needed to buy the rest of their perks, hit the box for wonder weapons or pack, having a point gun was important and added to the replayability on all the maps. How the actual classic point system worked was every round, the zombie health would go up a percentage after a certain round, and with each individual weapon, depending on its damage and how many shots it took to kill, it would determine the amount of points you got. What this means is the higher the round and the weaker your weapon, you'll be getting more points for landing your shots until you get the kill. This is where farming points come from, and why it's so important on certain maps for higher rounds. A normal body shot will net the player 60 points, a headshot 100, and a knife kill 130. And remember, this is only for the final blow to the zombie itself. This is in addition to all the points that can be farmed off of them beforehand, which is why strategies like pumping a lot of lead into a zombie and knifing them was a thing, or why players would switch to the knife on insta-kill, because it gave them more points. Now, the classic point system did have one tiny flaw, and that's how it worked with shotguns. Because remember, it's every individual shot that gave you points, along with the final blow. So even with getting nothing but headshot kills with shotguns, you'd still be lacking in the points department. That was until World War II. You see, World War II zombies made a small, slight change that really went a long way to make shotguns more viable in the weapon meta. They made it so every individual pellet granted you a point for landing. This simple change really did solve an issue many didn't know could be solved, and made using shotguns in that game a lot more usable and fun. The point system worked, and it worked well. It served the Horde-style game mode and had plenty of individual metas made across all the different games. And while it's easy to lump all the games after World War II into one boat, there actually does exist a big difference between BO4 and the later games that's much bigger than you realize. BO4 got a lot of flack from the community for the many things it changed. How grenades worked, the perk system, and of course, the point system. But something that many may not know is the Cold War and BO4 point system are actually not the same. They function completely differently, and it goes a long way to making BO4 a much deeper system than it appears on the outset. Some say that BO4 in Cold War is a damage-based point system, where it's only when you kill a zombie does it matter. But that's not exactly how it works. In BO4, each individual zombie has a set number of base points that you can earn off it, and that is 90 points. By shooting them in the body, landing the killing blow with any weapon to the chest, the player will get 90 points. Now that may not seem like a lot, but here's where BO4's unique system comes in. BO4 isn't damage-based. It's more skill-based. It depends heavily on how you kill the zombie and what kind it is. As in BO4, you receive bonus points for how you kill each individual zombie. Every standard zombie kill has a maximum of 90 points, but you can get additional points on top of that, as you can see highlighted in green. Headshots will give you a maximum of 120 points, and most notably, melee kills give you a maximum of 150. What this does is tenfold, encourage headshots and highly reward melee kills, which is why many maps in BO4 have extra melee weapons you can acquire, along with the melee-focused perk Ethereal Razor. Players complain that you only get points when you kill the zombie, but that's not true in BO4. On higher rounds, when unpacked guns are weaker, you actually can farm points off zombies, because of the set number of points you can earn from each individual one. It's just that final blow that makes the most difference. That's why going for melee kills is so rewarding in this game, because even some guy who tries to hog all the kills with a stupid rocket launcher still won't be able to get more points than you if you go for headshots or melee only. What this does is give variety to the gameplay loop. Variety. That's the key word here. Something that the following and newer games have just lost sight of. If you're like me, you're one of the players who don't want to spawn in with any weapon, and they prefer the older games where you start with a pistol. However, you get this argument from modern COD fans who say, well, just start with the pistol then. You don't have to use all the other guns to start with. When people say this, they fundamentally don't understand how the new point system doesn't work with this. The reason the older games started you with a pistol is because of the old point system. When everything is kill-based and you get no points whatsoever for shooting zombies in the leg or chest, spawning with a low-damage pistol means nothing. It's the exact same to spawn in with any weapon and go for headshots, because that's what the new point system does. It kills the variety the older games, and even BO4 had. Normal body kills give you 90 points, and headshots as well as knife kills give you 115. The lowest it's ever been. Reducing knife effectiveness as just being on par with getting headshots, it just so de-incentivizes doing it. But the biggest issue is that you only get points on kill and not by doing damage. This makes automatic weapons much less effective at getting you points. Because you can just spawn in with a shotgun and it's only headshot kills that give you points, that's how all the newer zombie games play out. The point system is so backwards to everything that Zombies was built on, and why it worked in the first place. Why hit the box? Why buy wall weapons when you can just spawn in with the exact gun you want and just work on upgrading it? This just puts the player in a hole where they're stuck with a weapon they've either wasted tons and tons of points on and don't want to lose, or dumped tons and tons of salvage into it and don't want to get rid of. Another reason why having not just this new point system, but also this rarity system is killing progression and variety on these newer zombie games. But BO6 takes it even further and makes the point system even worse. You see, because of the amount of bosses that the game spawns in, and how little points they drop when you kill them, it causes players to waste their ammo and not even be able to get it back in a lot of ways for the mid-rounds. And the most egregious change of all, making it to where melee kills give you less points than headshots. The new point system is terrible. It's strangling the player base into having less and less variety in what they can actually use, and how they can change their strategies mid-match. Remember how easy it was being able to change what gun you wanted mid-match? All you had to do was just spin the box and say, oh, I want to switch to that, and just do it. Now you're sunk in so deep with whatever gun you've chosen early game that it feels you have no real option to change, which kills variety and replayability more than you may think. The thing that just really baffles me is that with the overwhelming majority saying, we don't like this system, why for BO6, when the game was in development for 4 years, did they not listen? Why did they not change this system? Why did they not listen to the community? The new point system has to be changed, either back to how it was in BO4 or how it used to be in the classic games, because this system doesn't work. All it does is perpetuate this idiotic system of spawning with any weapon to facilitate a camo grind, and level up your weapons for a different mode that isn't even zombies. I think the community has spoken loud and clear. We want a better system. one that actually fits with this game mode. We want variety and progression back in zombies. And above all, we want zombies to have the depth it used to and to be fun again.